So today I want to talk about what my property managers do whenever a tenant's lease is due for renewal, right? So whenever you take over a property and you have property management in place, typically it's third-party property management. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're consistently increasing the rents. So a lot of the downfall of a lot of mom and pop owners, and I myself am guilty, is when I self-manage my properties and you had great tenants, you have a tendency not to really raise their rents because they pay on time, they don't create issues, and they're very easy tenants, right? Like I fall guilty of this, where in California, where I self-manage, I don't really raise the rents as much because they're great tenants, they pay on time, they take care of the property. So I do very, very gradual increases every like 2 years, just so that I'm not completely below market. But I still want to be slightly below market if they've been good, because if they leave, you got to clean the property up. That costs money. You got to lease out a new tenant, and that takes maybe sometimes 2 or 3 months, and you're losing your 2 or 3 months worth of income. So, but for my apartments, ironically, I'm very difficult on my property manager and making sure that they increase the rents when the renewal is due, right? So, for example, I've owned my 20 unit apartment complex for almost 2 years now, and we leased out a lot of units for about $500 or $525 after renovation, and a lot of them, they're up due for renewal. So basically we put a notice on the tenant's door, and it basically gives them three options. So option number one is, if you sign a new 12-month lease, your rent's going to now be from $525 to $550, let's just say. So it's going up by $25. Option two is, if you do a 6-month lease, it's going to be $600 a month, right? Because if it's a shorter lease, you usually charge more. And the third option is, if you want to continue month to month, at that point, it would be $650. So as you see, the longer the lease, the cheaper the rent. The shorter the lease, the more expensive the rent, right? So we basically say, hey, sign this option. You have till this time to respond. Usually we give them about 2 weeks to respond. And at that point, they have to pick their option, sign it, send it back. If they don't sign anything, we assume that they're going month to month, so we'll automatically increase their rent to $650. And if they decide to leave, then they have to give their 30-day notice, right? So that's how we kind of do it. And that's what I try to do, because with apartment complexes, the value is based on the net operating income divided by the market cap rate. So if you increase your rents, so $25 doesn't seem like much, but $25 times let's say 20 units, right? That's, what is that, like $400, $500 a month extra times 12 months. That's $6,000. $6,000 divided by a 10 cap, that's $60,000 in income, in value, right? So this is what I mean by, you have to really stay on top of it, right? And I admit, my property management, and now that this property is more stabilized, I might engage it, but we have some like tenants who've been there for a long time, and they have really cheap rent. So let me give you an example. So that we're charging new tenants $550, and we have a tenant who's paying like $300, right? We haven't renovated his unit yet. I guess he's been paying, but now that things are stabilized, I might start engaging my property manager and say, hey, he's at $300. He's month to month right now. Can maybe put him on a 12-month lease and maybe increase it, made it $350 or $400. We'll still be below market rent, but we got to make it known that we still want to collect more rent, right? So now that they're leasing the newer tenants, they're raising their rents, but the older tenants are kind of grandfathered in. A lot of times property management doesn't want to mess with it, but to me, I want to bring it up to market rent, especially if 19 out of 20 units are rented out. I want to maybe gradually raise the rents up. Like, I'm not going to be drastic, like, hey, you're being charged $300, I'm going to charge you $550 next month. No, I'm not going to do that, because number one, that unit isn't renovated, and number two, they're a long-standing tenant. Maybe they're great, so I want to keep them, right? So that's kind of my mindset going into that. So probably will touch base with my property manager and be like, hey, how about tenants, in unit number 15, like their rent's really cheap, like what do you want to do? Do you want to gradually increase their rents and see how they respond? or are they offering like additional services to us, like maybe they're mowing the lawn for us, maybe they're doing some type of maintenance for us to help lower their rent, right? So there has to be a give and take, because I want to make sure that I'm not below market rents. And if we're charging $550 and he's getting $300, that's a $250 spread, so that's 50% off. So remember, it's easy to get complacent. You want to make sure that during the renewals they're raising the rents gradually. It doesn't have to be by much, right? It could be 15, 20, 25, $50, whatever the percentages are. You want to make sure you keep on doing that, because I'm taking care of the property, right? Things break, I fix it. And insurance gets more expensive. Like just renewing insurance for my 20-unit apartment complex, it went from $13,000 to $15,000, right? So it's more expensive for me now. So in order to make up for that, I have to raise the rents, right? Property taxes going up. Things break. I wanted to maintain the property. So for me, I've owned the property for 2 years. They know that I fix things. They know that I take care of things. So to me, I don't think it's unreasonable to raise your rents, and we're not going drastic, right? We're going to go from 300, 350, or maybe 375, right? See how they feel, and then the next year increase it a little more, right? So, so this is a thing that you have to go through. You have to treat apartments like a business. So you want to raise the rents because your value is based on your net operating income divided by your market cap rate. And they need to know that they already know they're getting a good deal, right? That's why they're there for a long time. Like that tenant knows that if he were to leave, he's not gonna get $300 in rent, right? So even if I were to raise it to $350, if he goes outside, it's gonna be $500, $550. So unless he hates the location, he wants to move. But like I said, it's very reasonable. Even the ones that I self-manage, when I raise the rents from like $3,800 to $4,000, they know that it's a cheap deal, right? It's expensive to have to move your stuff, move your furniture, deal with a new landlord. I mean, the landlord is a slumlord, doesn't do anything. So I think it goes both ways. It's a relationship, and I felt like now that I've shown that I've been doing good work for 2 years, I think it's very reasonable for me to now engage to maybe raise the rents, right, for these tenants who've been here for a while. So I'm gonna text my property manager, set up a call, just say, hey, I know these two tenants have been here for a long time. Do you think it's a great time to raise their rents? Maybe we can fix some things in there for them. That's what I did for my 26 unit. Like the tenants who wanted to stay, we raised their rents, but we would give them like, hey, like what can we fix? Maybe we'll give you a new ceiling fan. Maybe we'll touch up the paint. We'll do something to make it nicer before we raise their rent. So we're not just coming in saying, hey, we're doing nothing. No, I'm going to do something. We're going to raise your rents, and we want to keep you here. We want to keep you happy. So hopefully you're getting some value from this and what it's like managing an apartment complex, how to manage your property manager, and the mindset behind why I like to consistently raise rents, because the value is based on your net operating income, and you need more rents for more income, for more NOI, for more value, right? So you want to not fall too far below. And like you said, my expense is going up too, like rent's going up, property tax going up, so I want to keep up with it, right, to maintain my NOI as well. So let me know if you have questions down below. Please share this video with somebody who's thinking about property management or they have a hard time raising their rent. And please like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you next one. Thank you so much.